And now, finally, I will request Ms. Radhika Rastogi. She is the Special Director of the Academy of LBSNAA, and this is the Apex Skilling Institute, we can say, or the Apex Institute which changes the fortunes of the country. We would like to hear from you your perspective on the Northeast and also on the skilling sector.
Honorable Minister Jen Mallabaruva, dignitaries on the dais, and the very young audience. Good afternoon. At the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of the Administration, we train civil servants to be future ready. And after Mission Karma Yogi, what is the change that we have brought about in the way we train civil servants? We have changed the emphasis from rules. Earlier, the entire emphasis was on learning the rules, standard operating procedures. From rules, moving to a role. What kind of a role are you supposed to discharge? Like in a situation like COVID, where nobody knew how to go about, you have to chart your own path. So how do you go about it? So we teach this, and also de-siloization. How do you mix with people? How do you work across departments, across government, across borders? So this is the main emphasis of Mission Karma Yogi. And how do we go about doing this? How do we de-siloize? What are the various kinds of skills that a bureaucrat is supposed to have? The Shastras say that there are 14 Vidyas and 64 Kalas. So for a king, for somebody who's supposed to rule, you're supposed to know 64 arts and 14 Vidyas. Otherwise, you can't be a good king. But over a period of time, our education system has actually got into a standardization mode with very minimal kind of subjects. So what we teach is mainly academics and very few subjects: maths, physics, chemistry, biology, social sciences, and so on. But what about the others? What about the fine arts? What about sports? Right? A whole lot of spectrum is left out. So we have increased the component of sports, increased the component of time that we spent on fine arts, and we find that people mix better, learn from each other better when they are in these kind of environments which promotes creativity and not in the confines of a classroom. In fact, they say only 10% of the learning is in a classroom setup, 20% is peer-to-peer learning or from a mentor, 70% of learning comes from experience, actual hands-on doing. So if 70% is what you can learn only by doing, why are we wasting a whole lot of time on a classroom setup? So that is the focus we have shifted. So most of our training is hands-on and peer-to-peer. And I would urge, because Assam is going to come up with a skill university and Honorable Minister is here, we should have the creativity component also as an integral part of every vertical of skill development. And the Joint Secretary from the Ministry of Skill Development is also here. So I would urge Mr. Dwivedi to also focus on this. We can see it happening in technological institutes like IITs. They have brought in humanities, but the fine arts are still not there. As Einstein said, you know, where knowledge stops, creativity is something which will help you to, cover the last mile. I'll have a small quiz because I feel the audience is slightly switched off. Are we ready for a small quiz? Yes? I can't hear you. Okay. So there is this bodybuilder, right? There's this bodybuilder who's also a ballet dancer. Anybody? A bodybuilder, world famous bodybuilder who's also a ballet dancer. He was 5 times Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia also. No. Oh, I thought you should be able to say now. 5 times Mr. Universe. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator. Right? And why did he learn ballet? He learned ballet so that he can, exhibit his postures in a much better manner. Right? Another question. There is this great martial artist. There was a great martial artist, right? Who was a great cha-cha dancer. Come on. Pardon? Anybody? No. Yeah, closer home. Bruce Lee, yes. He started off as a cha-cha dancer, right? And he is one of the greatest martial artists that the world has known. So how did Chacha help him? He came up with a new form of martial art called Jeet Kunedo, which means the way of the moving hand. So the movements which he learnt in Chacha helped him to come up to improve the martial art. So art is not something an optional extra of the indulgent mind, but it is an integral part of our existence, right? Can you name a president of India who was also a Veena player? Exactly, Abdul Kalam, right? He was also a great scientist, right? So these things are not distinct. And what happens is, we end up using only one part of our brain, the left part, logic, the rational part, but the creative part. Why do we have two parts of the brain? Because each part is important. But we are teaching our children, teaching our future young generation to only use one part of the brain. And we can never be true leaders if we are only exercising some part of our brains. So we need to have curriculum. We need to have skill curriculum, which uses both the parts, so that we can build to a higher level. And where the system becomes a hindrance, you will be able to find solutions. So the land of Assam, as it was said in the morning, we have more than 200 tribes here, which means 200 lifestyles, 200 ways of organizing the society, 200 ways of governance systems. So we need to preserve this diversity and build on this strength, not have standard operating procedures. I'm not a great fan of anything that is standardized. What we need is diversity and build on this diversity. Recently, I had the opportunity of going to Nagaland, and they had this Hornbill festival. The way they conducted this festival was mind-boggling. So awesome, the kind of talent. But how come the mainland India never saw these art forms of Nagaland? I have not seen art forms of the Northeast, even Assam, anywhere in Maharashtra. I would urge the minister, let fine arts also, fine arts and culture should be a distinct vertical under skill segment. Because this not only will create jobs, but also bring industry into Assam. If we see South Korea, the way they are using their culture, the soft power. So my children, they watch K-drama more than they watch Indian movies now. They don't understand the language, sir. But that is the power of culture and art. It has no boundaries and it can reach everybody. So I would urge all my young audience here, so don't look at arts, fine arts. Please use that also along with your academics are important. But sports are equally important, fine arts are equally important, and I do hope that you are the Amritkal generation which will make India Vishwaguru. So I would urge all of you, think different, act different, be Assam. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope that all bureaucrats also think differently and do well.
Ms. Radhika Rastogi, Executive Director, Lal Bahadur Shastri, National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie, Uttarakhand.